Like a Dane, further out Saintly, and here comes the big O. Octagonal with the last run at them. Volonte, Saintly and Octagonal, they've come away from Nothing Like a Dane. Saintly and Octagonal, Beedman throwing everything at Octagonal. He gets there. Yes, Octagonal wins the Derby.
One of the great days in racing. A year ago today, the finish of the Australian Derby, arguably one of the greatest ever, with Octagonal edging out Saintly and Volonte. Right now, let's go to Ken Callender and Simon O'Donnell with the latest market on the Derby.
Thank you, Ken, but before we see that market, joining Simon and I now is the greatest jockey I've ever seen ride at Royal Randwick, George Moore. Welcome to the wide world of sports, George.
Thank you very much.
George, you had a bit of fun on Derby Day.
Yeah, what, today or other days?
How many times did you ride the winner?
4 or 5, I can't remember. I think. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say probably the best would have been Tulloch.
Oh, for sure. He's the best horse I've ever ridden.
Here he goes, going to the post now. It's a long way between first and second, George.
Yeah, well, you know, Prince Darius ran second, and he came out and ran second in the Melbourne Cup, so it gives you some idea how good he was.
Simon's interested to know if he would have beaten the Big O.
I tell you what, the Big O would have been a long way behind, I think.
George, a special type of horse, Tulloch, in that where was he best suited in his races and placed, or could you just put him anywhere? He was that good a horse?
Anywhere. Tommy said to me one, get on Tulloch and let him gallop with Dubbo, who just won Oakley Plate. And I said, you must be crazy. He said, well, you know, your squeaky voice. He said, do this, do that. So I got on Tulloch and on Dubbo, and Tulloch just went past me like he was tied to the fence, half a mile.
He was something special. Your first Derby winner, George, and TJ's first was Playboy way back in 1949. I think we've got a bit of vision of him here.
Yeah, I was a bit lucky in this. Selwood should have beat me in this race. I pocketed him coming to the half mile and left him there, and away I went. But we kicked a bit in those days. We worked hard. These guys don't work at all now.
No, they ride a lot shorter than you did, George.
Well, that was their style in those days. But what can you do? Everything changes.
Well, George, they're going down to the start at the mile and a half start at Randwick, a start you know so well. Have you a fancy in this year's race?
Yeah, I like the top weight myself. If the boy goes to sleep on him and doesn't come out till, I reckon, if he's close enough with about a furlong to go or 3/4 furlong to go, he'll win this. He's got a really quick, short run, and I reckon he'll win the race. But the fillies will be hard to beat, of course.
You've got to save horses like Indigo's, haven't you, George?
Well, he's not really, I don't think, a mile and a half horse, but if he rides him quietly and goes to sleep on him, he'll win the race.
I think I'd love to see you out there on him.
I'd love to ride him too.
And now the boss has said that, I'm off.
Octagonal's just left.
OK, George, we'll have to let you go now as we give these people the tote prices before they go into line. Thanks a million.
Thank you. I did get lost, love.
George Moore letting his wife know where he is. Okie dokie, let's look at these prices. Indigaze is now into $3.70. TAB number 1. Number 2, Tarn Per Lane, is also a firmer. So I'd love this to win, $7.50. Ebony Grove is at $9. Flak Jacket at $17. Hero's Return into $16. Captain Moonlight, TAB number 6, is out to $11. $41 now for Might and Power. I thought he was a bit overs at 50s. Star Covet, TAB number 8, is out a bit more to $67. TAB number 9, Don Tristram, is at $100. Emerald Cut out to $34. Number 11, Torbolino, at $52. Number 12, Turn Me Loose, is still at 100 to 1. 40 to 1 for Grandmaster. He's a Dane at $81. Gwingana at 200 to 1. And the bottom one, the filly, Denendri, out to $3. 2 to 1 exactly for Denendri. Well, there's the crowd milling around Randwick to watch the start. They start the Derby in the home straight, go past the winning post, and then, of course, there's a lap to go. About 2,300 metres around Randwick. The Derby distance is 2,400, so they started about halfway down the straight near the 100-metre pole. Simon, they all look a treat here. There's number 7, Might and Power. Brian York, I expect him to be the leader. I just wonder how Shane Dye thinks the race will be run, what he intends to do in the Derby.
Now the main race, the Derby, what a great race. 2,400 metres. Now, if you draw wide, it's very hard to get across and get in because you only got about 200 metres to the first turn. Darren Beedman on Denendri will go back. There's no doubt about it. Craig Carmody on Indigaze will probably have to go forward. Now, they always go fast into the first turn. A horse like Might and Power will lead. The major thing to do in a race like this is to get into the back, which is about the mile, and sort out where all the chances are and to follow one of them. You want to know where all the chances are, because at the half mile, that's where the race begins. You tack on the back of a horse, probably like Into Gaze, and you say, right, I'm going to follow him. I'm going to have the last crack at him. I'm on a horse at Ebony Grove. He'll get back, but he'll charge home. It's a very open derby, and I wouldn't be surprised to see what won it.
That's Ebony Grove in the green and white checks there with the green cap. That's Shane Dye aboard Ebony Grove. And, well, he's definitely got a chance because he was dead heated for second in the Victoria Derby, so the distance won't worry him. Simon, he looks a treat. There's number 9, Don Tristram. He's got the job ahead.
It certainly has, at 100 to 1 and better, Don Tristram. So he's going to absolutely outrun his form if he's going to win this AJC Australian Derby.
Harry Troy, anything catch your eye?
Ken, there's plenty here that you could put your cash on. As Shane Dye just said, a very, very open derby. Gee, I like the look of Flak Jacket. I know he's probably not as well fancied as some. Nice, big, strong horse, and not a bad run behind Octagonal the other day in the Mercedes. Of course, Denandry looks very well. She's only a little thing and probably got the task ahead of her being a filly, but she looks exceptionally well, and she's got plenty of class. Ebony Groves looks well, and so too does Captain Moonlight. A difficult race, Ken. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go number 6, Captain Moonlight. I put him on top from Flak Jacket, Denandry and Ebony Grove.
Yeah, 10 to 1 chance, Captain Moonlight, trained by John Marr. There's Into Gaze taking his place in the line in barrier 12 in the field of 16. Craig Carmody, this would be the most important winner of his career. There's the roughie, TAB number 15, Gwyn Gunner. He'll get a stitch a long way from home. There's Torbolino next to him in the yellow and black and pink colours. At least he'll keep plugging away. And coming into view there, we've lost him again, was the Danehill horse. He's a Dane. He races in green colours. Well, there's Denandry. There's the one we're looking for, the favourite. She caught my eye, Simon. She looks well. I reckon she's improved in appearance since Rose Hill.
Yeah, certainly has. I'm sure she'll run the trip, but isn't she a petite little filly? There's not a lot to her, and here against the Colts when they're walking around in the yard, by gee, she looks tiny.
Yeah, I don't want to put my money on her. Of course, I've been wrong before, but she has got an awkward barrier. OK, we won't leave John Tapp in the lurch. They're all in line. Here's the best in the business, JT.
Thanks, Kenny. Set to go in the AJC Australian Derby. They face squarely. Starter Bill Cooper is on his stand. He's watching them closely. Off in the Derby. Came away in a nice even line. Dan Hendry, eased back by Darren Beedman, is going to tuck straight in behind the field. Don Tristram is making a dive for the early lead over Turn Me Loose and Grandmaster, followed by Flak Jacket, Might and Power. Captain Moonlight's going to settle down about midfield, and then Tarn Per Lane. Torbolino's about 4 deep going out of the straight, and then Hero's Return getting back a bit now on the inside of Star Covered, followed by Into Gaze, who's getting over onto the rail. Further back is Gwyn Gunner. Emerald Cut won't settle. He's ripping and reefing and bounding behind those horses, followed by He's a Dane. Dan Hendry second last, and back at the tail is Ebony Grove as they wend their way down past the 1800 metres mark. Don Tristram is the leader, and they're going along at a very good gallop. He's about 2.5 in front of Turn Me Loose, 2.5 to Flak Jacket, nearly a length away Grandmaster on the fence. Might and Powers between horses. Torbolino 3 deep as they go to the back, 2 lengths away Captain Moonlight, another 2 to Tarn Per Lane, followed by Hero's Return, and then Star Covered. Into Gaze well back on the inside of Gwyn Gunner. He's a Dane starting a forward move, followed by Emerald Cut and Dan Hendry, who's about 15 lengths off the lead, and back at the tail is Ebony Grove as they head down past the 1200 metres mark, and it's Don Tristram the leader. Torbolino made a quick move, got to the girth of that leader. Turn Me Loose in 3rd place, followed by Flak Jacket on the outside of Grandmaster. 2 lengths away, Might and Power. Another 2 to Captain Moonlight, followed by Tarn Per Lane. The pace is very genuine. Then Hero's Return, Star Covered, Into Gaze on the fence. A good way back in the field with He's a Dane, Gwyn Gunner. Then Emerald Cut and Dan Hendry, and tailed off is Ebony Grove as they go to the 800 metres mark in the Derby. It's Don Tristram the leader. Torbolino second. Turn Me Loose third on the outside of Grandmaster. Flak Jacket is flat to the boards, followed by Might and Power, Captain Moonlight, Hero's Return, then Tarn Per Lane, Star Covered. Into Gaze is still about 8 lengths off the lead as they come to the corner, followed by Gwyn Gunner, then Emerald Cut. Well back, He's a Dane. Dan Hendry will have to do a mighty job, and last is Ebony Grove. Coming over the rise, and Torbolino hit the lead in the Derby from Don Tristram. Further out is Turn Me Loose, and then Flak Jacket, Hero's Return. Coming right down the outside, Tarn Per Lane. Into Gaze is now getting a split between them. Here's Dan Hendry and Ebony Grove coming from Stone. Motherless last. Dan Hendry and Ebony Grove go to the
terrifically close. Ebony Grove maybe a nose to Dan Endry. Not sure about third, Intergaze or Might and Power, followed by Tarn Per Lane, Grandmaster, Hero's Return from Star Covered, Captain Moonlight. Further back, Gwingana, Torbolino, Emerald Cut, Flak Jacket, Turn Me Loose, Don Tristram, and He's a Dane as last in the AJC Australian Derby.
Well, the pace was a cracker. The pace was an absolute cracker. They've run 2:28 plus. Very fast time. And I've just checked that with the race record of 2:28.41. They've run 2:28.80 something. So a very fast run derby. They came from the clouds because of the fast pace up front. And Denendry in the blue got to the lead, but she just couldn't stall off Ebony Grove. It was the Diane Beedman show again. Denendry's in front. Ebony Grove dives at the filly, and he gets her right on the post for another big Group 1 win for Shane Dye. You'll find the TAB number 3, Ebony Grove, will be first when the numbers go up, and number 16, Denendry, second. They were all over the shop. That's TAB number 13, Grandmaster in the black and white checks, getting past Hero's Return. Might and Power joining in. Those numbers are official, incidentally. And then wide out. Here they come. Denendry, outside of the two in-between horses there were Tarn Per Lane and also number 1, Intergaze. But the two you're interested in are the winner, Ebony Grove. Grabbed Denendry right on the line. Didn't quite run out the last 200 metres of the Victorian Derby, but he's stronger now. Simon O'Donnell, I'm sure Graham Rogerson is elated.
He certainly is elated. Graham, congratulations.
Yeah, Shane said he'd win. He had dinner with us Friday night. He said, don't you worry, he'll win.
Do you expect me so far back?
Yeah, he was going to go back on him. You know.
Perfect tactics.
Yeah, it was great.
The heart's obviously running, but his form leading in, did it worry you at all?
His run last week was enormous. If anyone's seen the stewards thing, he wouldn't have been far behind Octagonal the other day. He dropped his whip.
Go and enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Harry Troy is with Shane Dye, and I bet he's excited too.
He certainly is, Ken. And can you ever remember a day when two jockeys have dominated a feature day as much as Shane Dye and Darren Beedman? Congratulations, Shane.
I had to win. I followed Darren and he knew what he was doing, so I had a good advisor.
You certainly did. You just dropped the horse straight back to the tail of the field. You rode an absolute patient race. You never worried at any stage?
I just wanted him to sprint home about 200 or 300, and I think what's been happening is we're trying to make too long a run on him, and I don't think it's ever suited him, and I just thought if I drop him out and leave him alone, no matter where I am, and just let him come home the last 300 metres, and it's worked out well.
Certainly did. Shane, you've won just about every great race on the Australian calendar. Would you believe it? This is your first AJC Derby.
Yeah, I've never had much luck in it, but it certainly makes up today.
Well, Shane, can you go one better? Can you create history and match Malcolm Johnson? Can you win the Doncaster?
I think I've got a great chance too, and he's going to be very hard to beat, all our mob. He just needs a little bit of luck along the way with the 58.5, but I'll make it.
Good on you, mate. As Shane makes his way back to the winner's circle, we'll return you to Kenny Callender.
Thank you very much, Harry. Yep, the winner, Ebony Grove. They ran 2:28.83, which is just over 0.4 of a second slower than the race record set by Octagonal last year. So they really carved it out. 3 Ebony Grove, $9 exactly, and $2.60. I might point out a Simon O'Donnell tip. Number 16, the favourite Denendry, $1.60, and number 1, Intergaze, third, $1.70. So the favourites finishing second and third. Officially fourth was TAB number 7, Might and Power, and Tarn Per Lane finished in 5th place. As Shane Dye salutes the crowd as he did on Octagonal last week, today in different colours, the green and white checks of his New Zealand syndicate or owners, Mr. Tobin and Mr. Buckingham, who race Ebony Grove, a son of Grosvenor, who indeed himself was a son of Sir Tristram. So a grandson of Sir Tristram, led back by, I think, the wives of the owners, and what a performance by a particularly good colt. Second in the Victoria Derby, stronger now, ridden, as Shane said, to be saved up for one last 300-metre run. The speed was on all the way. It suited him right down to the ground. Well, he looks pretty happy, Simon.
Yes, it suited the colt and the filly, I thought, Ken. Gave Denendry a great chance. As much as they were well back early, the pace that was set up front, they had to have a chance sprinting over the last 2 or 3 furlongs. They certainly did, and in the end, the colt has just outweighed the filly.
Yeah, 2 great rides too by Craig Carmody on Intergaze, Greg Childs on Tarn Per Lane. I thought Tarn Per Lane had win on straightening, but he couldn't match it with the first 2. over the last 300 metres. Let's look at the head-on replay of the 1997 Blue Ribbon. Okay, from the inside, Don Tristram, it can't do any better. Outside of him, Hero's Return in the red cap. That's Grandmaster running all over the place in the black and white checks. Torbellino outside of him, Might and Power in the pink pushing through. Then there's one horse there I just can't catch. Yes, it's Flak Jacket. Outside of Flak Jacket is Intergaze, and outside of Intergaze, here they come. Tarn Purlane in the white baldy face in the black cap, and then outside of him in the blue is Denendry, and widest of all in the green and white colours is the winner, Ebony Grove, and that Star Covet just tucked in behind him in the orange and purple colours. But Denendry, Beedman and Dye. Beedman on Denendry, Dye on Ebony Grove, and it was Ebony Grove who put his head in front. Really, I think it was only in the last metre of the race. And looking at the Derby winner, let's take a break on the Wide World of Sports.
Back on Derby Doncaster Day here at Royal Randwick, and there is Shane Dye, winner on Ebony Grove. Well done, terrific run by him, and it's just been a marvellous day for two great jockeys, Beedman and Dye, 2 wins each in a dead heat. You don't get much more dominant than that on a 5-race program so far. And there you are, that's the prices we have for you. Ebony Grove, $9 and $2.60. Then Endry, $1.60. Intergaze, $1.70. Quinella, $15.10. Trifecta, $104.90. New South Wales dividends. Boy, oh boy, what a great afternoon, and still another great race to come here on the Derby Doncaster Day at Royal Randwick. Now, if there's one horse on today's program you wouldn't mind owning, it would be the Doncaster top weight, All Our Mob. The brave 7-year-old gelding is one of those super consistent gallopers with the happy knack of steering clear of injury. During his racing career, he's won more than $2 million in prize money and has finished amongst the placings in almost half of his 69 starts. John Tapp has been running his eye over one of racing's most honest campaigners.
He's a dream to own, a delight to train, and a marvel to watch. All Our Mob isn't exactly a champion, but he's one horse who always provides value for money.
All Our Mob's just in front as they hit the line. It'll win the Stradbroke. All Our Mob. All Our Mob has won back.
It's fair to say All Our Mob probably races with more heart than brilliance. So far, it's a trait that's earned him more than $2 million in prize money and 41 placings from his 69 starts.
He's a great horse, he's proven that. He's probably the most honest horse racing in Australia, and it's very unfortunate to sort of try to compare him to, say, Octagonal or Merwad. He's probably a length or so behind them horses, but he's been a great money spinner and a great money earner for his connections, and doesn't matter what distance, what direction, what track, he's just a great horse.
Harris, trainer Gai Waterhouse and All Our Mob were a dynamic combination. Together they won the 1995 Turnbull Stakes and Newmarket Handicap, the latter upstaging the mighty Hariba.
Hariba was the hero that year, and All Our Mob was plodding along midfield, and all of a sudden decided that he wanted to beat Hariba, and off he went and he won it.
Hariba being tackled by Moss Rocket as they come down with 100 metres left to go. Hariba is the leader, Moss Rocket, and here comes All Our Mob. All Our Mob was swabbing them. All Our Mob hit the front, and All Our Mob is going all the way in the line to win the Newmarket.
All Our Mob is as versatile as he is consistent. In addition to his group success, he's also been placed in an Epsom, a Cox Plate, a Doomben 10,000 and the Doomben Cup. Even now, age 7, he's still capable of producing a big finish.
Here comes the old boy, All Our Mob. All Our Mob running into second place as getting out after the grey. Quick flick in front, 100 out. All Our Mob, he's a mighty horse first up. In fact, he's a mighty horse full stop. All Our Mob takes the lead and he's drawing away for Chrissy Munson. What an old marvel.
He didn't disappoint with a 3rd placing in this month's Newmarket and can't be ruled out of Doncaster contention.
I've heard people say that he can't win races before, and he's turned around and done it, so I could never say that he would never win a race. He's such an amazing horse.
He's very consistent. He tries hard all the time. He doesn't know when to stop. He ran 3rd in last year's Cox Plate. He then come out and won a McKinnon Stakes, which is just unbelievable. His form this season has been outstanding. He won first start, then he ran 3rd in the Newmarket. and he's got a great chance to win the Doncaster.
OK, there's been a bit of a sensation on the Derby. If you've backed the winner, you're OK. Don't let me get you worried. Ebony Grove is sweet. He's all right. But there is a protest, 5th against 2nd. Now, that's Tarnpur Lane against Denendry. Now, let's have a look at the head-on. Now, Tarnpur Lane, when we start, neither horse is in picture at the moment. As we pan across, you'll see them. That was Grandmaster down there. That's got nothing to do with it. Now, just as we get to the right-hand side of the screen, the white baldy face is Tarnpur Lane. Now, outside of him in blue colours, you'll see Denendry come across and cause some problems. Let's not lose this. I hope he's gone out of shot, but we might just see the end of it again. We'll stay with it. Tarnpur Lane, there he is, the white baldy face. Now, watch for Denendry. Does he come across Tarnpur Lane? Denendry is 3rd from the right-hand side in the blue colours, and Tarnpur Lane is immediately inside it. Definitely Denendry comes in there. Tarnpur Lane's got a check severely, and I think it probably cost him 3rd place. But the thing the stewards have got to consider is that it changed the difference between him beating Denendry home. Now, they've got them in the stewards' room now. That is the stewards' room. The stewards are about to start asking questions. Unfortunately, we can't take audio from in there. But let me explain to you what happens in protests. It is relegation and not promotion. So if the protest is upheld, Denendry goes back to 5th, and the placings then become 1st Ebony Grove, 2nd Intergaze, 3rd TAB number 7 Might and Power, 4th number 2 Tarnpur Lane, and 5th Denendry. Of course, if the protest is dismissed, there's no change of the placings and they stay as previously called with Denendry in 2nd spot. All right, all the combatants are there. You can see in the back of the screen the 2 jockeys, Greg Childs in the orange and black and white colours, who rode Tarnpur Lane. Sitting next to him is Darren Beedman, who rode Denendry. Now, I'll say one thing, even if the protest dismissed, Darren Beedman might have a holiday coming up. Righto, that was the Derby. We'll have the result of that protest as soon as it comes to hand. The next big race, of course, is the Sydney Harbour Casino Doncaster. The man who's holding all the big money on that is Colin Tidy. Here he is with Michael Maher.
Colin, we're now talking about the Doncaster. Now, when a red-hot favourite like Moorwood comes out, what's it do to a bookmaker?
Well, it's quite a windfall if you're betting on the doubles and what have you. Unfortunately, I wasn't. But what it will do today, I believe, is make the race more interesting, because Moorwood sort of half had a mortgage on the race. But now the race is very, very open, and there's at least half a dozen chances, and they're all fairly equal chances. So I do expect it to be one of the biggest betting Doncasters for a long, long time, even though it's the smallest field, like for 40-odd years.
Do you think perhaps you'll hold more money on the race than you would have if Moorwood had started the race?
I think I will, because the punters will bet with more confidence, because they're not betting against Moorwood, and that's a big thing. Like, they can back horses like Shame and All Our Mob and Secret Savings, like, with a lot more confidence than what they would if Moorwood was in the race.
Okay, good luck for the race.
Thank you very much.
I don't really mean that.
No, thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Michael Maher not being wished good luck, or not wishing Colin Tidy good luck. Don't forget on the Derby, if you've got Quinella tickets with Intergaze, don't throw them away yet. If you've got each-way tickets, a place bet on Might and Power, don't throw that away yet. All right, we'll have the result of the protest as soon as it comes to hand. In the meantime, another break from this special day at Royal Randwick Racecourse in Sydney.
As they top the rise where Shaftesbury Avenue shot clear. Look at Our Grey Invader. Our Grey Invader coming from near last has run into 2nd place, is coming after Shaftesbury Avenue, and Superimpose is jumping out of the ground. Superimpose is rapidly overhauling Shaftesbury Avenue. Shaftesbury Avenue still in front. Superimpose wide out, lunged and got up to win the Doncaster. He's come from near last. Superimpose beat Shaftesbury Avenue. Third out of the turn. into the straight towards the 400. Spot the Rock and Quicksilver Cindy are the 2 leaders coming over the rise. St Jude pulled out is going up to them quickly. His Post Elect putting in a run further out from the Planet, followed by Ricochet Rosie. Superimpose right down the outside. Here comes the top weights at the 200. St Jude, Livingstone Lane burst through on the rail. Superimpose down the outside. Livingstone Lane in front, but go Super. Superimpose is mowing down Livingstone Lane. Superimpose has done it again. He's done it again. Superimpose beat Livingstone Lane. Third Eye, the Royal Creation or Shaftesbury Avenue.
Super duper. Was he something special or what? Oh, was he what? Okay, the most important news is that Protest 5th against 2nd in the Derby has been dismissed. Remember, with Protest, the interference caused has got to have made a difference to the result. Now, I know it was pretty bad interference and Tarn Per Lane was virtually stopped in his strides, but the correct decision was made. However, I don't think Darren Beedman will have heard the last of it. But weights right in the Derby, Protest dismissed. The numbers are still 3, 16 and 1. Ebony Grove first, the filly Denendry second, and the second favourite Intergaze in third place. We told you earlier there's a $250,000 promotion if you can tip the last 7 winners at Randwick. We've had 4 of those races already. Has anyone picked the first 4, John McGee?
Yes, they have. We have 20 live entries still from 13,000 entries.
Gee whiz.
Yes, and we're a little bit nervous, Ken. We've got 6 live tickets on All Our Mob, who's second favourite.
Yes.
And 5 live tickets on the favourite Cattleman Opening.
So if you get rid of Cattleman Opening and All Our Mob, you'll be down to tin tacks.
Yes, and I'll buy you a beer.
Thank you very much, John McGee. We'll keep you posted on that. Of course, you've got to tip 3 more winners yet, including the Doncaster. Number 1, All Our Mob in the Doncaster is showing at $5. I think you'll get out a little from that. Secret Savings, I've got my cash on him. Bit overs on the tote at the moment. He'll firm a little. He's at $12. Kingston Bay is at $81. $11 for Buzz Off. Cattleman Opening is favourite. He's firmed a bit on that. He's into $3.60. The big punters like him. Number 6, Shame, is out of touch to $5. Ravada get a beaut run from his inside alley. Barrier 3, $15. Anthems will come from the rear, $10. Iron Horse at $21, probably go forward today. Moorwatt is a scratching. Pragmatism is at $67 out to $80. TAB number 12, Ken Bell, is 13 out to 15. And number 13, Brackenbury, is at $26. Monet's Cove, of course, was scratched earlier in the week. Okie doke, Michael Maher has got another interesting guest trapped for us.
Kevin Robinson, is the town of Berry on the south coast excited about the prospects of Ken Bell?
Yes, I believe they are, Michael, yes.
Now, last start, the horse hasn't shown a lot for a while. At least it did in its early days, but last spring it went missing. But last start in the Queen of the Turf, she really showed what she's made of.
Well, that's right, Michael, but a first run fortnight prior to that in the Coolmore Classic, it was an outstanding effort. And put the writing on the wall, you know, that she had made a comeback.
Tell us about the Queen of the Turf, the way that was run and the way this horse likes to settle.
Well, it was just ideally run for because she did draw a good alley. She settled back on the fence, worse in midfield, and then got a nice cover up and got a nice follow through when they come to the turn, and just proved far too good.
Tell me, Kevin, what happened to the horse last preparation?
Well, as a 3-year-old, they're cutting teeth, and she didn't do well in the stable and had a few problems, and just never carried the condition that I'd like her to. But you know, I did take her down to run her in the Caulfield Cup after she had 4 runs, and they were both reasonable runs. She ran 4th the last 2 starts of weight race, but she didn't please in her work, so we brought her straight back and turned her out.
I know you don't like talking about it, but your reputation is of a horse doctor, and you do train your horses on the beach down there at Berry. But have her feet been playing up a little bit, and has the sand, working her on the sand, helped?
I wouldn't really say so, because she's done half of work on the track, so because you're probably well aware, my beach activities have been restricted. But she's come up good, the mare, and I'm sure today, if she gets a nice run in transit, she'll be right there at the finish.
Kevin, she's a Group 1 winner, and she's only got 51 kgs on her back.
Yeah, she's very well handicapped.
Looking forward to it?
Yes, certainly.
Good luck.
Thank you, Mike.
You don't often hear trainers say they're very well handicapped, so I reckon she must be. Well, there's the horses starting to circle before the running of the $1 million Sydney Harbour Casino Doncaster Handicap, and joining me is Wayne Harris and Simon O'Donnell. Wayne, I've got to say to you, it's been the Shane Dye, Darren Beedman show so far.
It has stolen the show. What a great pair of riders, and it's worth coming just the races to watch them ride.
Simon, have you stuck for them in this race?
No, I haven't, to be honest. I'm going to go for a Melbourne jock in this. I quite like Anthems. I think the pattern of racing even today is going to suit